Alright, you know what a 5K test is actually to me in winter? How much sense it makes and how much sense it makes to compare. So either you're fast on a 5K naturally in the winter because your blood levels are high, or you're not. Now, it's about the same effect. You see this big tree? It's a huge, that's quite an old tree. Now, there's a little tree. Row, you idiot! Hello and welcome everybody. James asked a question on YouTube, and what an interesting one, and what a question I get a lot of times. He says he's burning out after 45 minutes on a 5K test and he doesn't know what to do. So how do you prepare for a high rate endurance load that takes a long time? See, that's the tricky thing about rowing. Rowing is neither sprinting nor endurance. It's actually endurance sprinting, and this is why it's so difficult to prepare for. And this is always an individual thing. Now, his question was the reaction to the video on how to train explosive versus endurance-based athletes. So first of all, James, I figure you try to figure out who you are. Are you an endurance type athlete? Are you an explosive type athlete? And then the question really is, what does your training plan look like? Do you have a lot of high intensities over the winter? Is there a lot of structured low intensity training? Do you have strategic goals? Do you know what is this truly goal of yours, to go longer than 5 minutes at high speed? So there's more need to know. Now, assumption A, you are a masters athlete. So your standard race distance actually is 4 to 5 minutes. So your 5K is just a test in the winter. I wouldn't give much about it, you know. Your discipline is 4 to 5 minutes. So I tried to rate higher 4 to 5 minutes instead of trying to rate longer for a 5K test just in the winter. It doesn't really matter. So stick to the training you do, just increase the watts on the intensities. Do a bit of low structured endurance training, that's it. Assumption B, you are an under 23 senior A club level athlete who actually has a 2K race distance. Now then your race distance is actually anything above 5.5 minutes if you close the world best time level in the 8, up to 8 minutes and a bit more. Now, you obviously do have a problem with high steady state endurance, which means that either you train too low, there's too little structure in your low endurance training, or you do too much high intensity training. Yes, you heard correctly. It can be both. You can be too low or too high. And what you need to do is close that gap in training. So too low of intensities will never prepare you for the high stuff. So you're good in low intensities, nice solid build-up, but you're lacking the middle part. The other section is too high. So if you do too much high intensity stuff, you're lacking the basis. And if you lack basic endurance, you can never train enough high intensity stuff because you burn out too quickly. This is a problem I see with many athletes, that it's either too high or too low. So I always train my athletes that we structure everything in between. It's like playing the piano. It's like going up and say, okay, I'm going to do, instead of, for you guys in Great Britain, and I think the US, to do the same, you got UT1, UT2, UT3. There's much more, there's many more levels than UT1, 2, 3. There's, in your language, it's gonna be UT4, UT5, there's UT 0.5, there's UT 0.3. There's so many levels in between. And playing around these levels and always coming back to the basics, this is what makes you fast. But this is something highly individual. So when I start to work with athletes, I have, and any one of my athletes who started recently knows that, there's a program entry questionnaire. This is a multi-page questionnaire where I ask a lot of things about you, how you trained before, which type of training you can actually do, what is your goal, what is your preparation, which boat do you row, and so on. And based on these things, plus with the higher end deals also a phone call, I figure out who you are and what it needs. I need a lot of detailed information about you and your history of training in order to understand what's lacking. Now, most athletes are actually lacking basic endurance and medium endurance. So the thing that hurts after 5 to 10 minutes, but in a very strange way, You know, anybody who's ever done a true 3.5 to 4 millimole training, so just on the brink to anaerobic threshold, this is a weird kind of pain. It's like you could go higher and you could go lower, but just at that very level, it's just, whoa, it feels weird. Why? Because your cells in the body have to work tremendously. This is the interesting stuff about this training. And this is really what gets your heart going. This is the good stuff. This is what makes your cells more powerful. But if you never get in this area because you're either too low or too high, or you only train in this area, something's missing. So I think, James, your training routine is too one-sided. Let's make a cutoff. Third assumption, and this is true for any type of athlete, and that's one of the big problems I see with midwinter testing. What do we do in midwinter? How many races are there? There are zero racing that are actually interesting. Just a bit of erg hopping and an erg test and 2 and 5K. Who cares? How long is the water season away? It's like 3 months, 4 months. How long is your peak of season away? Like 6 months? Sometimes 7, 8, 9? Depends on what you want to do. So why on earth would you care about a 5K result right now? A good training plan, to me, looks like this. Now in January, it is now January 2019, it's January 3rd as I'm recording this video. You gradually want to pick up the rates in your training, which means you don't just have the low endurance stuff. You also have the medium endurance stuff, so stroke rates 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 22, 20, 18, 16. And not just based on stroke rates. You want to do 1.7 millimole, 2 millimole. You want to do a perceived load of 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, back to 3, 2.5. If your max heart rate is 200, you want to do heart rate 140, 150, 155, 160, 165, 170, 175, 180, back to 170, and so on. Not just in one training, but over weeks and months, you gradually, this is my job as a coach, I gradually have to make sure that you go from the low basis endurance, which we have done all October, November, December, now gradually become faster. So we gradually move your body into the higher stroke rate areas. So you gradually adapt your body and prepare your body and your mind, it always goes hand in hand, to be able to cope with higher stroke rates. Because right now, if you test a 5K all out, this is like learning Greek and your exam is in Latin. That's how simple it is. This is nothing you're prepared for. So if assumption C is true, then I wouldn't waste a minute worrying about it. I know that in some teams, these tests are crucial. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't think it's worth anything. Now, the argument I get quite often is, well, how do you want to find out how your athletes are doing? Get a lactate test. I mean, a lactate measurement device is 500 euros. It's like maybe $550. These are not expensive. Find out where their threshold actually is. Find out how their what levels develop. This is the interesting stuff, because this is what's going to make them fast over the summer. And then in March, April, May, when you actually prepare them for the faster stuff, this is when you can do the first competitive fast stuff on the water. But an athlete needs time over the winter to create the fundament it needs to do the high-speed training in the summer. This is just my opinion. I might be completely wrong, but all my experience and all the coaching I do is based precisely on this assumption, and it seems to work quite well. All right, James, I hope this video helps you. If you have any further questions, just put your question in the comment section below. I think you guys know that I read every single comment on YouTube. I actually read them because I really want to know how you guys are doing. I'm interested in that. My mission is to make rowing as enjoyable as possible. I started to row at the age of 10. It is absolutely enhanced my life in every way. So I want to give back. All right, guys, much looking forward to see you soon. If you have not already subscribed, hit the button right now. I'm much looking forward to see you in my community. Have a very good day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.